I have never held meetings for Western Uganda. And similarly, no meetings have ever been held for Northern Uganda, no meetings for Eastern Uganda, no meetings for Central, no meetings for Karamoja, no meetings for
women.
Kampala.
Because it's illegal.
Because there is no provision for those kind of meetings. So if that was the only reason they were using to stand,
they should
now pull out of the race. Yes, ordinarily I usually invite you on Tuesdays to address you on matters of cabinet. But today we have invited you to address matters of yellow. But I see only her and the only two are dressed in a manner that is politically correct. The rest of you, the media, you are not yellowish. But that's just on the lighter side. So I want to welcome you and thank you for coming to this media briefing. My name is Chris Bariomonsi, the National Vice Chairperson for NRM in charge Western Uganda. And I am going to address you as such, not as the Minister of Information that I usually do on Tuesdays at the Media Center. That's why we invited you here at the NRM Secretariat, because this is a briefing in relation with the NRM. And I'm joined by Honorable Godfrey Kiwanda, the Vice Chairperson for NRM for the Central Region, as well as my sister Lydia Wanyoto, the Chairperson of the Women's League of NRM in Uganda. So thank you very much for coming. Again, I see another gentleman with a camera which is politically correct. a yellow camera. Now, we are going to brief you about the ongoing exercise of elections for SEC members. But before I do that, let me take the opportunity to thank you as the media for the coverage that you have continued to give regarding electoral activities within the NRM. Because for the last few months, there have been elections for party structures, starting from the branches, that is the villages, up to the district level. And the media, you have been part of this journey, part of this process. I would like to thank you for the work that you have done in covering all these events and also informing the country about what is going on within the NRM party in the different parts of the country. And in the same vein, I would like to thank members of NRM across the country and congratulate those who have been able to make it in the elections which we have conducted, beginning from the branch level, which is the village level. As you know, NRM has an institutional architecture where we have leadership from the branch level, then at the parish level, at sub-county level, and district level. And we have done all those elections that have resulted in a number of leaders of NRM. And I take the opportunity to congratulate all those who went through and thank all those who participated, and also thank the members for all those activities. We have also, of course, had primaries for members of parliament and the district leaders, namely the district chairpersons and the district councillors. And just yesterday, those who are going to vie for positions of LC3 chairpersons and LC3 councillors picked nomination forms in preparation for the elections, which will take place later in August. So that process has been on, and we congratulate NRM as a party for those elections. Definitely, the NRM is a very strong political party. That's why its own elections within the party can generate a lot of heat in the country. I am sure you agree with me that no other party can organize those kind of elections that stretch from Karamoja to Kisoro, West Nile to Bukedi, and the whole country has been on fire because of these elections organized by the NRM. Now, the elections in terms of the structures which remain are now elections for members of the Central Executive Committee, which is the highest organ of the party, and we seated here are incumbent members of that organ. And the reason why we invited you this morning is to announce, and individually all of us will speak, but we are here to announce. Let me speak now for myself, because my colleagues will also speak for themselves, that I already picked nomination forms, and I was successfully nominated for the position of NRM Vice Chairperson, Western Uganda, a position that I have been holding for one term, because my first term is now coming to an end. I was voted overwhelmingly by delegates from all over the country in 2020, August 2020. And this coming August, we shall be completing our term of office and now getting ready for another term. So I am announcing that I am a candidate for that position, and we shall be consulting members of NRM across the country, particularly the delegates, those who vote, who constitute the electoral college that vote us into this position. And we shall be doing campaigns when the national conference is held, and the dates for the national conference have already been announced by the chairman of the party, i.e. Yoweri Kaguta Museveni, our chairman. Let me say that the last time we elected, in August 2020, that was a period of COVID, when we were under lockdown, you recall. And we've been working since then. But of course, we spent like 2 years at the beginning in a lockdown due to the COVID pandemic, which was ravaging the country. But we've been able to achieve a lot of progress as a party, as SEC. Let me clarify that being a member of SEC is not a job. It's merely a party responsibility that makes you be part of the governance structure of SEC. And the main function of SEC is basically to provide policy guidance to the party. I have been in some areas where they say, oh, here, you've been our chairman, Western region, but our roads are not in good shape. So you find members of the party across the country sometimes do not appreciate the functions and roles of these positions that we hold. The party has a huge structure, like I've said, ranging from the Central Executive Committee. We have the district executive committees of NRM, and downwards up to the village level. And basically, our work is to mobilize the country, for the country to support NRM. But when the voters have done their part, like they did in 2021, then they request the party to form government. And implementation of the manifesto is executed through the government. the executive arm of government. For us as a party, our work is now to supervise the government. We shall have to carry out a lot of civic education for people to distinguish what structures of the party do and what the government bureaucracy or the government system does in delivering services to the country. But one of the decisions we have taken as a party is that we are going to strengthen the mechanism of a ruling party supervising government. For instance, we have taken a decision as a SEC, which we have also taken to cabinet, that henceforth the chairpersons of the ruling party, in this case NRM, at the district and lower levels, will now be members of the respective councils. So that at the district level, the chairperson of NRM, say in Kanungu district, which is my home district, will now be a member, an ex-official member of the district council, so that the party has its eyes on what the government is doing. It's one of the decisions that we took as a party. SOC, as members of SEC, is basically to support the chairman of the party in giving guidance and political direction to the country and ensuring that the party supervises the government in order to implement what we promise the country when we are canvassing for support. For that promise, we put it in a manifesto. And I can say, as members of SEC, we have done our part. If I can speak about Western Uganda. Western Uganda is a large area spanning from Bunyoro, Toro, Wenzori, Ankole, and Chigezi. And as the vice chairperson in charge of that region, in the last 5 years, I have worked hard to ensure that the support of NRM remains very strong. I think I can proudly say that when it comes to the support and strength of NRM as a party, we come first and others follow. Others follow. And that can be seen through how we elected the president, how we elected the members of parliament and other leaders. The NRM continues to dominate the political space in Uganda, but more so in Western Uganda. And I pledge, once elected, I will continue to consolidate that support, and even the few pockets of opposition that could be there in some areas will definitely cease to be. For instance, when I was taking over the position of NRM vice chairperson, we had a fairly strong opposition in the Rukunjiri area, a fairly strong opposition in the Kasese, and some other few urban areas, but that we have worked on it. We have worked on it. We have turned Kasese into a yellow district. We have turned Rukunjiri into a yellow district. The urban areas where there was some palpable presence of opposition, I think they have toned down and people have crossed. I have been in various places receiving converts joining NRM, and that we shall continue. But also we have been on the ground to ensure that the government delivers services ranging from infrastructure like roads, electricity, safe water, health care, education, wealth creation programs. We have moved with the president when he was moving across preaching the gospel of wealth creation, and we can say NRM is delivering. So my message is that NRM remains the future of this country, and would want to appeal to Ugandans to continue supporting NRM as a political party, to continue supporting President Yoweri Museveni and the flag bearers who have been elected through the elections which we have conducted, so that NRM can continue delivering for Ugandans. NRM is the only party I can say that is anchored on strong ideological pillars. We have a reason why we exist as NRM. And like we have been saying before, and very often, that the NRM, when it came, it had a 10-point program, which was expanded to 15, but we usually condense it into 4 ideological principles or pillars, which include patriotism, Pan-Africanism, socio-economic transformation, and democracy. Now, point number 4 of democracy is what you are witnessing now, that there is a strong democratic force moving on and process moving on in the country, where Ugandans are participating in choosing their leaders. Some of you have just been at the Electoral Commission, where even those who are aggrieved with the outcome of the processes have the freedom and liberty to petition, and the tribunal which has been set up by the party is going to look through these processes, and if there are any irregularities which are detected, they can be corrected, because NRM believes in democracy. It believes in the fact that for you to occupy a political office, you must be endorsed by the people. That's why we are here. For instance, we would have just declared ourselves as the next SEC members, but we have to go to the voters for them to give us the endorsement in order for us to continue. Even the president will have to traverse the country once he has been nominated as a presidential candidate to seek the mandate of Ugandans. That is what NRM believes in. NRM believes in Ugandans deciding for themselves on who to represent them, on who to lead them. So
the national chairperson of the NRM Women's League and a member of the Central Executive Committee representing the women of Uganda of the NRM, but most times most women in Uganda are also NRM. So when I say the women of Uganda, really I mean everybody, because the NRM party works for all women, colorblind, but the NRM women, the yellow girls, we lead the campaign, we lead the movement. I'm standing here to seek re-election. I was already nominated for this office, seek re-election of the same position I'm holding as the national chairperson of the NRM Women's League and a member of the Central Executive Committee speaking for women in the party. The Central Executive Committee of our party is a think tank, because like Dr. Waliamus has said, sometimes people mix government and the party. But when we win as a ruling party, even the manifesto, the mind, the direction begins at SEC level. To do the manifesto, the social contract of Ugandans starts at SEC level. So this is a think tank. So the NRM picks its best brains, its best cadres, its best exposed people to be able to position Uganda both at home and abroad. You've heard about the issue of securing. We secure Uganda both at home but also abroad. So while I speak for women, but also while you see the policies that come from SEC, go to cabinet, and finally, whether it requires legislation or budget, they end up in parliament. So it's a chain. It begins at SEC, goes to cabinet, from cabinet, what you see in parliament, going to parliament from cabinet, it must have been thought through and cooked through at SEC level. And therefore, while I speak for women, I also contribute to all the other pillars of the party mindset, the party ideology, because I'm a trained cadre, I'm an exposed cadre, and I'm a competent cadre of the NRM. So I not only sit in SEC to speak about women, I look at the country from a holistic approach so that we are able to deliver the manifesto, but also deliver the social contract of the Ugandans. And I stand here, or I sit here, to applaud the women of Uganda and the NRM, because we are the pillar. We are the pillar of our party. And our chairman, the president, knows that very well. My colleagues know that very well, that women set the pace for the party. As I speak today, we have already run programs that are gender-lensed, that are women-focused, including the parish development model. It began with the women because we recognized that 68% of Uganda's population was outside the money economy. But of that, 45% were women. And that's why the governance structure of the parish model went to the parish. The majority of Uganda's women are the village, they're within the homesteads. The next level is the parish. So that program is that level to target women. So for the every 100 million, like we said in the SEC, 30 million straight goes to the women. We want to see a change, and that's the game changer. In the next 5 or 10 years, when you have an empowered woman at the household level, you will see a changed and empowered community. Because when you change a woman, you change a household. When you change a household, you change a community. When you change a community, you change a country. And we are the majority. Even the recent census showed that we are the majority in the country. And therefore, I speak for the majority nationals, and I stand here to request for a vote. I congratulate all those that won the recent election structures. They are the ones coming for the national conference to elect us. So I seek your vote. Please vote for me. I'm here to serve. I've served. I'm already serving. We are here today because the instrument of the national conference has just came out on Saturday. We are counting the 30 days. But we are burning in the kitchen. So dear delegates, we are reaching out to you using all forms of media, because while we are candidates, we are also the ones preparing and ensuring that the president leads us properly to go through the legal structures and the political program of the national conference. So our hands are not free. We are working, but we are also campaigning, and here we come to seek for your support. My poster, person in Women's League, this is the catchword. I never grow old, I'm always big.
I'm the current national vice chairman in charge, Central Region. Most people call it Buganda, but in our constitution it's called Central Region. I'm also the chairman of the National Consultative Forum, the forum that brings all political parties together, all the registered political parties. Now we have 27 registered parties in the country. I'm here seeking for a second term as a member of the Central Executive Committee. I came on this committee in 2020, August, and I shall be making 5 years in August 2025. But of course, that must have had just one term. As Central Region, we had very many challenges immediately after 2021 general elections, and even before, and even during, and that's even our performance was not as good as it used to be before. Immediately as a vice chairman, I carried on research in the whole of Central Region, and I coded it what happened. I shared this literature with our national chairman to see how we can improve on the performance of NRM in Central Region. I'm very happy that His Excellency the President took my literature and the Central Executive Committee very serious, and I'm seeing the implementation of most of the things that I talked about that are being implemented. The most recent one was the meeting between the President and the Bika leaders here in Buganda. I was very impressed with that, because I knew part of our relationship was destroyed by the opposition naming us as enemies of the kingdom. But of course, I'm happy that most of the things that I came out with in my research have been implemented by the party chairman, by the National Executive Committee, SEC, Cabinet, and also Parliament. As a national vice chairman, we are elected by the whole country. That is the unique thing about our service. Dr. Chris here is elected by the whole country. The same people that elect the president to become a flag bearer, though that the same people actually elect us as vice chairpersons of the 6 sub-regions. Of course, we had issues immediately when we had issues of COVID, but immediately when COVID got over a bit, we rolled out to begin the services. I launched a campaign here which called the Chisoboka, and this was a socio-economic campaign where I had a socio-economic transformation crusade in almost every district of Buganda. In Chotera, in Masaka, in Rakai, in every district. I launched this campaign, and this campaign was basically in line with our manifesto on socio-economic transformation and how to empower the young people, the old, the women into socio-economic transformation. As Central Executive Committee, in the last year, this 2025, the Central Executive Committee was informed that our membership on the National Consultative Forum had expired because Ndugu Rugunda was our chairman and he was our representative on the on the National Consultative Forum. And when that happened, they wrote the party chairman, and the party chairman, in his wisdom, together with the Central Executive Committee, deployed me to be a member representing NRM on that constitutional body, the National Consultative Forum. But as the law prescribes, the person representing a party with a majority in Parliament becomes the chairman of that forum. So I'm the chairman of this forum from 2025 to 2030. And definitely you cannot chair that forum unless you're a SEC member. It's very difficult because remember you are chairing a forum of secretary generals, people representing these parties are either their presidential generals, and they will definitely come from the top organ of those parties. So I appeal to delegates to allow me chair this National Consultative Forum when I'm a second member. So I appeal to you delegates to allow me, maintain me as your vice chairman of the National Resistance Movement in charge, Buganda, so that I also continue chairing the National Consultative Forum. I've made some briefs into this brochure, which I'm going to share with you, all of you, the delegates. In this brochure, I've come up with some few things about myself, about Chiwanda. Some of you who may not have interacted with me before, about my current position, the key milestone that some of you know about me, where I've performed as a Minister of Tourism, as an RDC, as a Member of Parliament, as Chairman of Buganda Parliamentary Caucus. I've put up something very small here. And why you actually need Chiwanda, I've elaborated each year that Chiwanda is a child of the movement. And my political loyalty in the National Resistance Movement is unquestionable. My integrity is very clear, the discipline in the party, knowledge and respect for the party structures. And actually I can say my DNA was shaped under the guidance of His Excellency, Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. I've also put up something very small here with my connection as a Buganda leader, my leadership in the Buganda Parliamentary Caucus, what I did as a member of the Buganda Parliamentary Caucus, my grassroots giant with the national reach, and of course, finally, my stand on the National Consultative Forum. So I'm here today to seek for a new mandate as Vice Chairman, National Resistance Movement, in charge of Buganda, in charge Central Region. And I want to assure you that we shall work as a team to make sure that we make NRM strong. I'm a leader with integrity, with energy to serve this party to great heights. I thank you.
The NRM party and members of NRM should choose the best. I have seen, for instance, in Western Uganda, I think we are 11 candidates. And I'm sure, and I'm certain that the delegates will find it easy to see me as the best candidate of all those people, because my profile and record is very clear. It's very clear. And my slogan, since my colleagues have talked of slogans, mine is effective representation, your vote, your voice. So can we receive, you mention your name and the media house you represent, and then you either indicate when those who are contesting against me are choosing me of not organizing meetings. I don't know what constitutional provision they are quoting, the NRM constitution, of where the vice chairperson is supposed to convene meetings. That provision is not there. The meetings which are provided for are the National Conference, the National Executive Committee, both of which are chaired by the National Chairperson. Then we have the district conferences, chaired by the chairperson of the district. Then there are constituency conferences that are chaired by the NRM parliamentary flag bearer, and then the sub-county conferences, parish conferences, village conferences. There is no provision for a meeting for the region. Actually, it was a concern within the SEC, and we set a process of reviewing the constitution and explore whether, like somebody raised it, whether a regional vice chairperson should be elected by members of the party in that region, and why it should be the whole country. There is a process, but not yet concluded, on whether there should be regional conferences that will later speak to the national conference. There is a process. But as the constitution stands now, there is no provision for regional conferences. And I don't receive a single allowance from the party. So maybe those contestants have not read the constitution and they are just excited. They're just excited. But I've been very active in the political public affairs, and I have been on the ground. There have been by-elections, for instance, where I have actively participated. I have, the good thing, I double as a minister, but I have been in Kasese, I've been in Bunyoro, officiating at NRM functions, and many other activities. So for anybody to say his bid is based on holding meetings when the party constitution does not provide for those meetings, I think I invite them to read the constitution and understand it. There are also those who say, but Dr. Christopher Yomonsi is an MP, is a minister, and a SEC member. Those are too many positions. They are also raising it. And I tell them the president is the president of Uganda, a chairman of the party, and the commander of the armed forces, and is doing very well. Yes, we have been having Speaker Rebecca Kadaga. She's an elected MP in Kamuli. She is a minister and the deputy prime minister and the second national vice chairperson. Even our current speaker, she's the MP for Bukedea. She's vying for this position. She's a speaker and she's doing very well. So that's not a point to single out Dr. Christopher Yomonsi that he held this position. But like I said, being a member of SEC is not a job. It's not a job that you earn a salary, you have an office, and so forth. It's just a party responsibility, being part of that national think tank for the party. And that's why I'm saying the party should choose their best, because we contribute ideas to the party, to the way the party is shaped, the way the national policies are shaped, much as it's a democratic right for anybody and everybody to vie for these positions. But the members, I invite the members of NRM to look at us very critically and say of these who has substance, who can contribute to the thinking of the party, and so forth. So the issue of meetings, I have been on the ground. I am not a topsoil politician who sits in Kampala. I've been on the ground, and I'm sure everybody knows. And I've been to all these districts in Western Uganda and even beyond Western Uganda. So the issue of not holding meetings is not a point. I disregard it because the party does not provide for regional meetings. But like I've said, it's an issue we are looking at. But I have held several other meetings, not necessarily of party leaders. For instance, I held meetings with university students in Western Uganda to rally universities to support NRM, and have had many other meetings which are not structured party meetings, but the meetings of various cadres and groupings in support of the party. You are also saying, how will I manage the pressure from the various contestants who are, you said they are prominent. I don't know who is prominent, more prominent than myself. I think I am the most prominent person in this race as far as Western Uganda is concerned. And there is no pressure at all. I am sure you have seen I have not lost weight, even as I stand. So, but the reason why there are many contestants is that when we joined SEC, we raised the profile of SEC in Uganda. Actually, many people started knowing the Central Executive Committee when we joined. And we raised the stakes, we raised the profile, and that is the popularity of SEC, and that's the interest. And somebody was saying, I have said it's not a job. Why is it attracting many people? Like I have said, NRM believes in democracy, that any Ugandan who is eligible for a position is free to vie for that position. And because we have raised the profile of SEC, that's why it has become very interesting for many people. In the past, it would attract 1 or 2 people and so forth. And it's good that many people are coming up to contest and vie for these positions. But in as far as I am concerned, there is no pressure. There is no pressure. Even when they are prominent people, yes, we are going to explain ourselves to the members of NRM, the delegates, and I'm sure they should not find difficulty in assessing us and finding me suitable to continue being the vice chairperson of NRM for Western Uganda. That also answers what Mr. Mayanja had raised. The one of over 12 people vying, yet no salary. Of course, some of them don't know that this is just a position where you volunteer. They may think it's a salaried position. And I invite them to check and know what it takes to be a member of SEC, instead of probably pushing in a lot of money, pushing it in the hope that they will recover it from the party. They will not. They will not. And so they should campaign on the point of knowledge, from the point of knowledge and knowing what happens. Basically, we join SEC to contribute ideas, to shape the direction of the party, the country, and the government. Not for financial gain, not for any other thing, but just to be part of that process that shapes how Uganda is moving. Somebody raised the question of unfairness, in the sense that members of SEC are the ones who vet the aspirants or the candidates for SEC position. That's how the Constitution is, and we ensure that there is fairness still. Because when it comes, say, for the position of vice chairperson, Western Uganda, then I will step out of the SEC meeting for the other members to vet those who are vying. It's not that I sit and make a decision on my colleagues who are vying against me, to remove this one, remove this one. So you declare your interest. Because you are a candidate on that position, then you don't participate in vetting the candidates for that. but it is done fairly. Nobody is vetted out unfairly. There is fairness, and the work is done honestly. So nobody should fear, nobody should be scared of that. You're also asking what is in there for the common man. Like I said in my remarks, that NRM is the present, but also is the future of this country. You see, this is a political party. We are in a political party dispensation where we compete for political power, and the party that wins, in this case we want to ask Ugandans to continue voting for NRM, forms government, and the government delivers services and addresses the concerns of Ugandans. And we are saying, let the members of NRM, the delegates, vote their best into these high organs so that we can add value in the top organ of the party, which eventually informs what happens in the government. For instance, this program of PDM is a brainchild of SEC. The idea came through the Central Executive Committee, and eventually it went to Cabinet and Parliament like this. This idea of giving districts an additional 1 billion shillings to supplement the road fund in order to maintain roads. This was an idea which came from the Central Executive Committee. And now districts are getting additional funds to maintain roads. And many others, if I had time, I would explain. So basically, the Central Executive Committee generates the policy direction, generates a number of issues which eventually result into service delivery and welfare issues for Ugandans. So yes, ordinary Ugandans may not be voting for us. It is the leaders who vote for us, but at the end of the day, what SEC does, the decisions SEC takes, the interventions we propose, eventually trickle down through the relevant structures and then benefit Ugandans, including non-NRM people, because if, for instance, we put money for maintaining roads, the roads are not for NRM members, eventually it's for Ugandans. So SEC is a very important organ, and we invite all Ugandans to have interest in SEC and who constitute SEC so that we can address the concerns of Ugandans. So SEC is the engine. It is the engine of the country in many aspects. Taguta of UBC was saying there are people who are saying maybe there has been that we have digressed from the ideology of NRM generally, that there is violence in fighting, hustling for these jobs, do or die, and so forth and so forth. Well, it depends at the angle you look at it. But NRM, like I have said earlier on, remains the only party that is ideologically sound, that is based on ideological principles. I have said time and again that when you look at the other opposition parties, you will find many of them are ideologically anemic. And they only say, Museveni again, Museveni must go, NRM must go. But that can't be an ideology. A political party is formed on the basis of your beliefs, your ideological beliefs. That if we're in government, if we're in power, this is how we would run the government. Healthcare, education, wealth creation, service delivery, this is how we would deliver services. And then the voters compare political party A, B, and C, and they are able to discern which political party has the agenda that addresses the concerns. But when you see how multipartyism has been constructed in Uganda, you see many parties are just empty constructs that dwell on criticizing and insulting NRM alone. I don't go beyond that. So, and that's why Ugandans keep voting NRM, because we represent what Ugandans need, like I said, in our ideological pillars. So the NRM as a party remains steadfast. It has not digressed. It has not diverted from its core principles. But of course, it's a mass party where we embrace everybody. You know, much as we are a political party, but sometimes we call ourselves a political organization. And if you see how we've been behaving, we even accommodate those who come from other political parties. We are in marriage, if I can call it a marriage, with the DP. We are in marriage with the UPC. We have people who have left the other parties, and we embrace them and give them highest positions in governance. So all those explain probably what we see, because we accommodate different people. We are a multi-ideological organization that accommodates many people. True, there are these challenges, but also you must appreciate that there is a demographic transition going on within the country, where we have a huge segment of the population being young people who have been born under the NRM regime, who do not probably sufficiently appreciate the historical facts of this country. And the point you have made is that it is a challenge to us as current leaders of NRM to ensure that we inculcate knowledge, but also we explain where NRM came from, what it stands for, and assure Ugandans, especially the young people, that this is the party for the future. We have that work, and that's why we are offering ourselves, because many young people still need that ideological nourishment for them to appreciate what NRM is. But NRM, as a party and as leaders, we don't believe in violence. We believe in fair competition. The election is generating heat is okay, because we believe in democracy. People should participate, but we don't believe in violence. We don't believe in abusing others. We want a clean process where Ugandans democratically participate and choose their best and choose leaders whom they would want to lead the country, to govern them. Violence or do or die, those dynamics are appreciated, but we are here to promote clean politics, to promote clean elections. On the question of members of parliament, whether we should reduce the pay for members of parliament in order to make it less attractive and less competitive, because many people vie to go to parliament because of the huge salary. Yeah, that's a debate we can have. But you see, when the CA wrote the constitution, they put a provision that parliament shall determine its own emoluments through the parliamentary commission. There has been a debate on whether we should appoint a salaries review commission for the entire public service, including parliament. I think those are issues which can remain on the table, and we discuss them. But it's true, the competition for parliament is so stiff, and maybe some people look at it from the question of emoluments, but should be looked at from the moment, the element of service, to serve Ugandans, not necessarily for financial gain. But these are proposals which you are now raising, which definitely will constitute part of the debate that we shall continue having within the party and within government. I think there was some
Candidates for sake. I want to talk about the candidates for the NRM Women's League. According to the NRM Electoral Commission report, the National Executive of the NRM Women's League has 38 candidates. 38 candidates, and some are here because we are 10 executive members. I have Peace Kansime here. She's also the leader of the Office of the National Chairman in charge of Ankole Sub-Region, Western Uganda. She's contesting for the Vice Chairperson for Western Uganda National Executive. I also have Jennifer Kaera here. She's contesting for National Publicity in charge of the publicity of the Women's League. And there are many, but we are 38 candidates. So I think that NRM is a popular party and people come out to serve. But at the end of the day, delegates or voters choose the best, the way you present yourself. There was another question about vetting. Even the president, I think Dr. Chris should have told them, even the president, when we are discussing his candidature, he excuses himself and Haji Chigongo then chairs sake. So it is that serious. When you are on the table for debate, you excuse yourself, or you recuse yourself, as we say in the law, and then the others discuss you. Then what is it in for the common man? I want to tell you that I mentioned earlier, somebody asked about the common person. I don't know how you define a common person. For me, that speaks for women. When you take 100 million to the parish, for parish development, and then 30 million alone automatically goes to women. So who is common now? Is it not that woman at the parish that is getting this 1 million to begin an enterprise? But also the money for all the other programs, the skilling, enterprising, we're now trying to get them markets. So I think that it is a chain you must appreciate. There's the policy organ, the think tank of SEC, but whatever we say now goes to cabinet. Then from cabinet, either they go to parliament for laws to be passed, or for budget allocation, because parliament appropriates budget. That's how we work. So I hope you can help us for people to understand the chain of command of how government and policy works. Somebody asked me about Umbale, but today I'm here because of a national call. But let's talk about the present and going forward. I am the most consensus-built candidate in Mbale city today, the most popular. I got 89% of the vote in Mbale. So I don't look at the past, because the past, the lies have disappeared. You know, you go, you present yourself, and there are lies, and some of us are victims of propaganda. But over the years, I've come out smart, I've come out the best, and I've come out the winner. So I am not looking back, I'm looking forward. I'm a good set of Museveni, President Museveni. President Museveni lived in the bush, lived in the prisons. He's now president of Uganda for over 40 years. If you don't remember his story, he even lost an election in his own home area, in Ankole. You remember the parliamentary seat he lost to Kutesa? But now, he has led us for 40 years, and the women, he's the heartbeat of the women. We are proud of him because the resilience he exhibited, the challenges he went through, it's what keeps me going. So now, Mbale question, we are celebrating Wanyoto. The past is gone, the future is advancing. And you can see our women are talking. A lot of energy, a lot of hope, a lot of excitement. So we are going forward. So what about... I want to talk about the common man, the campaign for the whole country. Let me say this that Dr. Aryemus mentioned. SEC is for the country. Otherwise, you'd begin telling us, why doesn't the president also campaign in his own region because he's not from Bugisu? SEC is a think tank that runs Uganda. And I think I said this, that our work is to secure our country internally and outside. So you cannot begin bringing us somebody from a region to think for the country, securing the country within and without. When you hear that we have deployed in Somalia, when you hear that we have deployed in DRC, or we've deployed in South Sudan, there's a brief from SEC that goes to cabinet about the security of our neighbors to be safe, but also ourselves. So that cannot be a mandate of just one region. So for me, I'm also voted by all leaders of the NRM from the whole country, and I'm proud because part of the principles and the tasks ahead, I've written them in my book. We begin with the peace and security. Then we talk about, you secure Uganda, then we grow Uganda and we give the future to Uganda. You cannot do that if you are only voted by one region. That was the spirit of this constitution. But also I'm speaking because I'm part of the people that drafted the constitution. I'm a founding member of the NRM party. In 2005, I'm one of those that signed the NRM party to start. So that is the spirit. That was the thinking then. But if people want to be voted in their regions, maybe that can be a debate for another day. But when you see SEC members coming from unique regions like Kampala, like Karamoja, those are unique areas. But the mind should be national because they are also voted by all national delegates. We are working for Uganda. We are not working for our own regions. So I hope I've been able to answer and contribute to other questions. And I thank you. On the issue of meetings, finally, if you hold a meeting when you're a SEC member, that's illegal. The only authority that holds the meetings in our constitution is the chairman of the party. We are speaking today because on Saturday he issued an instrument that there will be a national conference within 30 days. If Bariomu see, oh, Chiwanda goes holding meetings, that is an illegality and you can be put to sanction. So please appreciate. I've been to campaigns myself for the by-elections, including Kawen. People said I'm mad. But we are mobilizing for the country. We work for the party. So we will mobilize, we will work, but convening meetings is not the work of a SEC member.
Singa abakulu bazizeemu naye njagala kusooka okubagamba nti bw'ogeregeranya bendabyeko abajjayo empapula okwesimbawo ku kifo kya Central Region tewaliwo ayina buzito n'obumanyirivu obwenkano bwa Kiwanda. Mwe bennyini mubamanyi, no integrity, kyetugamba obukulembeze obwensa. Bw'otunulira bonna bwe mbalaba, mbadde abamu sinnabawulira bulungi naye bendabyeko. Obukulembeze obwensa, obukulembeze obuyise mu kugezesebwa nga Kiwanda today. Nze vice chairman wa NRM wa Buganda, kubona tekuliko vice chairman wa NRM. Ekyo level ndalako, nze chairman akulira ebibiina byonna mu Uganda. Kuba contestants bona tekuli n'omu alina level eyo. Mbadde member of parliament ebisanja bisatu. Kuba contestant bona talina experience eyo. Mbadde minister, mbadde resident district commissioner, mbadde mukulembeze w'abavubuka n'ebifo ebirala bingi bye mbaddemu. So ekyo kikulaga nti bwe tuba tugenda mu think tank eya SEC twetaaga omuntu alina ebirowoozo ate alina n'obumanyirivu obugazi obwenkanidde awo. Olwaleero tuli wano okusooka nga nze nga Kiwanda ndi wano okubasaba akalulu okuddamu okubeera memba ku lukiiko olw'okuntikko olwa Central Executive Committee. Olukiiko luno nga lwe lukulu olw'ekibiina kyaffe. Ndubaddeko emyaka 5 okuva mu August 2020 paka kati August ono nja kuba mpeza emyaka 5. Mu myaka gino 5 mubaddemu ebintu bingi naye mukimanyi bulungi nti twali twakamala akalulu, twalina ekizibu kya COVID. Era egyo emyaka 2 twagimala nga mobilization yaffe teri nga bwe twandyagadde. Naye amangu ddala nga akalulu kaakaggwa na kutuuza conference ezaali entonotono mu sub-region za Buganda zonna okulaba kiki ekyavaako performance yaffe okuba nti yalinga bwe yali. Era akatabaako nakatuma what happened in 2021, kiki ekyaliwo. Era bammemba bangi bampa ebirowoozo bino nengabana nabyo Central Executive Committee ne chairman wa party. Of course ebirowoozo bino ndabye nga bigenda bikolebwako. Ekimu ku kirowoozo kye nateekamu ekyali ekikulu ennyo kye kirowoozo ekyali ekyokwongera omukwano wakati wa NRM ate n'Obwakabaka bwa Buganda n'abakulu ab'obusolya ate n'ebika. Era ndi musanyufu ti President ensonga eno yagikozeeko ate era akyagikolako. ebirowoozo bino byali bingi ekimu nga kirimu ekyokulwanyisa obwavu mu Buganda era natandikirawo campaign gye twatuuma Kisoboka. Campaign eno etambudde district zonna mu Buganda. Siinaayo district gye tutakubyemu lutayi lukuŋŋaana nti lwa byabufuzi niyo olukuŋŋaana olwogera ku social economic transformation okulwanyisa obwavu mu maka. District zonna nzitambudde, of course ne mikwano gyange bano Honorable Lydia, Honorable Chris Baryomunsi awamu ne Prime Minister ne government awamu tubaye tukola nabo kubanga twagala omulimu guno gugwe. Kati mu kiseera kino nga tuli mu kawefube ow'okwongera ekibiina kyaffe okwongera okunywera, twetaaga okulonda abakulembeze 1 abalimu ensa. Mulekeraawo okutunuulira ssente nga mulonda akalulu. Pate yaffe mujja gimugejinga, mugenda gisinga. Mutunuulire ennono z'ekibiina kyaffe okuva we twakitandika. Bwe mutandika okugeregeranya ba candidate okusinziira ku ssente zaakuwadde, oba oli mu kusinga pate yaffe okugisingayo ng'abantu bwe basingayo ebyapa byabwe okubawola, temukkiriza nsonga eno kuyingira mu kibiina kyaffe. Ekirala ba delegates mwina okumanya nti waweereddwa obuvunaanyizibwa okulonda omukulembeze agenda okulowooleza ekibiina kyo. Tugenda kulonda presidential candidate, tugenda kulonda chairman wa party, tugenda kulonda ba vice chairpersons ababiri, omwami ate era n'omukyala, then mulonde naffe ba vice chairpersons omukaaga, mulonde omukulu w'abakyala Honorable Lydia waali, ate mulonde n'owabavubuka n'ebifo ebirala. Seke bwe tugigattagatta ebamu abantu nga 27. President yasayininze ekiwandiiko ekituyita mu lukiiko luno mu mwezi ogw'omunaana. Tubasaba delegate bwe muba muzze mutunuulire nnyo bammemba abalina obusobozi. Nafunzizza ebintu ebinkwatako mu kikatabo kano ke nayise vote Kiwanda, naye bwe nabadde nkatunuulira natunuulidde Kiwanda Godfrey Suubi as a patriot, nga mobilizer, servant leader, ate era omukulembeze ali ku muntu wa wansi. Nateesemu ebintu ebitonotono ebinkwatako obukulembeze bwange nga bwe bubadde, ate nga bwe nywezezza erinnya. Mwina okuba nti abantu be mulonda olonda omuntu nga nukumwogerako obwogeze NRM efiirwa obuwagizi, olumwogerako abantu ne beenyinyimbwa. Yes, ennaku zino tulina ebizibu by'ettaka, abantu abamu bali involved mu nsonga z'ettaka. Olwogera ku muntu aga nti ate kati mukomezzaawo okutubbako ettaka. So kikulu nnyo okutunuulira muntu kigwolonda. Omuntu obwo ayimirira ajjayo ekitiibwa kyaffe nga Central Region, ajjayo ekitiibwa kyaffe nga Buganda, ajjayo ekitiibwa kyaffe nga NRM, ekibiina ekizimbiddwa ku mpagi ennya: empagi ey'obumu ng'eggwanga, empagi eya okukolera awamu okulwanyisa obwavu mu maka n'okwetawo enkulaakulana, ate era n'empagi ey'okunyweza demokrasiya. Empagi ezo nkulu nnyo okuzitambulirako bw'obanga olonda omukulembeze agenda okutwala pati yaffe maaso. Tugenda kutambula, tugenda kujja gye muli okuva n'olunaku olwokusatu. Tugenda kufulumya program engeri tugenda batambula mu districts, mu regions, tubalabeko. Naye campaign eziri official zijja kubeera Namboole. Tujja kutambulira wamu ne ttiimu eno, tujja kubeera Kololo, twamanyira Namboole olw'ensonga gye tubadde ebbanga ddene. Nejja kubeera Kololo ku mulundi guno gye tugenda okukuŋŋaanira. Eyo wagenda okuba campaign zaffe, naye okujja kuno tugenda kujjayo mu districts, tujje nga tubabuuzaako mu region zonna ne district zonna ezisinga tugenda kutuukayo nga tukozesa ennaku zino kati 3 ge tulinawo. Tubasaba akalulu kammwe, tubasaba obuwagizi bwammwe gye tujja tubeere nammwe twogere, ate n'ebimu batuvunaana si bituufu. Omuntu atuvunaana n'agamba Kiwanda tutagamuwa akalulu. Dr. Chris Baryomunsi oba Lydia Wanyoto tatuuzizza nkiiko, tebatukkiriza nga bammemba ba SEC kutuuza nkiiko. SEC kakiiko kalowooleza bulowooleza kibiina, si mulimu. SEC kakiiko akabeerako abantu abalina obwongo obusobola okulowooza pate yaffe nga batwabudde nti enkola eno gyemula ya parish development model yava mu sek. Enkola gye mwogerako ennyo abantu gye bawaana ennaku zino ey'okulongoosa amakubo agali mu byalo eyo akawumbi ke twayongera buli district kyali kirowoozo kya sek. Ebirowoozo biva mu sek ne bigenda mu cabinet oluvannyuma ne bijja mu parliament ne bikubaganyizibwako ebirowoozo. So tubasaba mulonde abantu abalina ensa, temugeregeranya abantu na ssente ze bakuwadde, temwonoona kibiina kyaffe, temukisinga mu ba money lenders. mu
Luganda olwaleero nazze wano okulangirira nti nkomyewo okwesimbawo ku kifo eky'omumyuka wa ssentebe wa NRM w'ekitundu ekya Western Uganda. Ekifo kino kyendimu kati kubanga bampeereza akalulu mu mwaka gw'2020 kati maze emyaka 5 ate nsaba ekisanja ekirala. Ate waliwo bingi bye tukoze nga SEC nanze nka vice chairman wa Western Uganda. Omulimo gwa SEC kubeera gwa kulowooleza ekibiina. Okubeera mu lukiiko gwa SEC si mulimo nti gwa musaala nti ojja kubafuna musaala, kujjako okukolera ekibiina. Kati awo nsaba Abannayuganda aba NRM mulonde abantu abalina amaanyi, abantu ba Western Uganda mulonde omuntu asobola kubakiikirira bulungi. Ate n'alabye olukalala gwabo abazeeyo forms okwesimbawo. Yes, NRM ekkiririza mu demokrasiya, buli muntu alina obuyinza n'olukusa kwesimba, naye abalonzi tusaba nti muteeke mu tooki mulabe ani asobola kubakiikirira bulungi. Ate oyo ye Dr. Chris Baryomunsi, kubanga rekodi yange eri public, abantu bamanyi ndi mu gavumenti nga minisita, byenkola abantu babimanyi. Ndowooza ate nsuubira nti tekijja kuba kizibu abantu okundaba nti nze nsaanidde ekifo ekya vice chairperson Western Uganda. Ebirala tujja kubyogera mu campaign mu lukungaana lukulu kwa conference e Kororo, kubanga gye tugenda kubeera ne official campaigns okunyonyola abalonzi ne batuwa akalulu. Mwebale nnyo, mwebale ddala.
Wanyoto Mutende wano mu Buganda, nze Nalukenge neddirange yakabbiro ku Nguve. Ndi mukyala munnamateeka, ndi pleader w'abakyala mu Uganda. Abakyala batono abannamateeka abeetabira mu bintu by'obufuzi n'okuyamba abakyala aba bulijjo. Abakyala mbayozaayoza okuba nti mwayiseemu okulondebwa ku structure zaffe za NRM mu Uganda yonna, era mbaaniriza ku National Conference olukiiko ntabamiruka olwa NRM olugenda okubeerawo e Kampala. Mukama waffe President yafulumiza ekiwandiiko mu mateeka ng'aluyita olukiiko luno. Mbadde mbasaba nti nate neera mumpa akalulu okuba nti mbaweereza ng'abakyala aba Uganda aba NRM n'abakyala mwenna mu Uganda. Nze erimu gyange gimanyiddwa era ngikola n'okwagala n'obuyivu ate nga mbitegeera. So mbadde mbasaba nti bwe mwampa obwesige buno mwongere ate okunnyamba nkolera abakyala ate nkolera Abannayuganda. Kasookolera omukyala oba okoledde Uganda, ffe tusinga obungi mu mbalirira mu Bannayuganda, ate ffe musingi gwa NRM naye ate ffe musingi gw'enkulaakulana. So njagadde nkibasabe mutima mulungi, temutunula walala. Abeesimbyewo batugaye tuli 38 ku kakiiko kano ak'abakyala, tulina executive eriko abantu 10, naye waliwo tufunye omukisa okuba n'abakyala abamu abeesimbyewo. Nano omukyala PC Kansiime ate ng'akolera mu office ya National Chairperson, mukama waffe yamuwa omulimu President, ng'ate yatambuza Western Uganda yonna yeesimbyewo okuba nti yali ku kakiiko akayogerera Western Uganda ku bakyala. Ndabye n'omukyala omulala bamuyita Jennifer Kayera, wuuyo muvubuka nvumulo mulaba. Abavubuka tubajjayo abawala ab'ennaku zino, ali mu ttiimu MK Plu, naye mu NRM mulaba wa yero, publicity yagikutte kuva ku kyalo paka nerero ali ku national ku kyalo. Bannaye tusaba mutukolere ttiimu egenda okuweereza nga mbadde empeereza. Mbeebaza mwenna abadde batera okunkwatirako tukuba campaign tukola mobilization naye n'enkulaakulana tugikutte n'amaanyi gye tulaga we watuufu ffe ng'abakyala bannaye mumpulize ffe ng'abakyala muzeeyi atuli ku mutima ye heartbeat y'abakyala mumulaba wano ffe muzeeyi atuli ku mutima naye nga tetumuli mabega nataddewo akabonero kano mukalaba kano abakyala ffe tuli mabega naye tugoberedde mukama waffe ani president